Hey guys. Um Good Thursday evening, so I just made it in time. So I had to feed Thor, but we're looking good on time. So I know I'll get done we'll probably close at I'll end the live at 8:32. Cuz right now it's 6:32 or actually 6:42. So actually I'll end at 8:42. Um, but we've got a couple things that we're going to be doing tonight. One is reading the first three chapters of the Beatles book. I'm very looking forward to it. And then I will be showing you guys so there's a Disney card game out that's been out for a long, actually not a like it's not fairly new, it's not fairly old, but it's been out for a while. It's called loracana. Um the It's really interesting cuz the same people who print the Pokemon cards also printed these cards for this Disney card game. It's made by Ravens Ravensburger. Um I have all of what I need right in here. I bought a couple starter decks for myself before. I didn't get the Gateway. So the Gateway is basically like your Pokemon Academy. It teaches you how to play the game. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna really teach you or show you all what are some good decks to start with, what each deck has to offer through, because the thing is it is broken up, so I refer to them, so I will kind of go over the decks and really how each deck is associated with two ink colors. But the good news is each symbol of that color, there's amber, so amber is like a yellow orange. um and all of these are going to have so cards are going to have many different things they do in the game that can be game changers. But a lot of these cards that have the different ink colors all are different, meaning that they'll do things in a game that maybe other sets lack of, um or don't do as good. But we'll go over that. But to note that amber is are the orange cards, including um character cards. There is steel, which steel is, I will say steel decks are really good for defense and for definitely attacking, for heavy attacks. There's emerald. So emerald is green, is the green. So if you see any card with green ink, those are emerald cards. There's sapphire, which is blue. Those are the blue cards. Ruby would be red. And then there's amethyst, which are the purple cards. But we're gonna go over, and I'm really gonna tell you guys what these decks require. But each starter deck comes with two colors of ink based cards. So, for example, you could get a deck that could be ruby and sapphire. And a good example of that would be um Ruby and Sapphire is a good deck. But as I said, I'm gonna write down for you guys exactly what decks are good for what purpose. Because when you buy a single 60 card starter deck, I will say each starter deck comes with your deck, a 60 card deck, the two promo cards you're guaranteed in that deck, damage counters, a like a paperback map, and a booster pack. Now, unlike the Pokemon starter decks, they do not throw any booster packs in those at all. But between loracana and what is it? Did you what is Digimon? I can't. Oh no, MetaZoo was the other card game that throw in an additional booster pack. I will say the starter decks for MetaZoo, when MetaZoo came out, they will throw in a booster pack, whereas Loracana, it does the same thing in their starter decks as well. But I'm really glad I got the Beatles book today. We can start reading that tonight, get 3 chapters in, and as I said, it's the book is probably gonna take Kathleen and I were kind of talking about that a little bit. We're thinking, I mean, we were stating that like it would take us about 2 months to read, so we would probably be done with it by October. But it is a long book. I mean, that thing is freaking thick. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm very excited that I did get a used copy. I did not get the brand new copy because it was like $25. But I was able to get it and still have some money to spend, or at least something left over on my Amazon gift card, minus getting the book, or getting the book as well, but I had a little extra, so that worked out extremely well. But yeah, so and my buddy Ian and I started showing him how to play this Disney card game. I will say it's pretty easy to learn, but I will say you definitely, I would say, if you're a beginner, you definitely want to get a deck that you can control easily. Which I I'm just cutting. I'm not turning on my volume, but all right. So, and as I said, we'll go through different cards from these different colored ink um, decks and what they do, but we're starting off. So I'm not gonna number them. So amber are the. It's more of like an orange or well. Amber. Uh, healing. Bodyguards. So next up we've got amethyst. I'm just keeping a note for myself as well as I'm doing this, so I can share with you guys exactly. Let's see, amethyst. Focused on card drawing, or draw. Force expert. Card draw. Force exert, not expert. Exert. Force. And then control. Controls, but and the symbol of amethyst is a crescent moon. That's how you a crescent moon. Okay, yep. Next up, we've got emerald, which is the green cards. Flexible. So flexible is another word of willing to do anything. Yeah. Ergo, aggro, disruption. So disruption means you can disrupt an attack, prevent it from happening, preventing your opponent from questing, actually, because that's one of the best things about emerald is it's one of the really good parts of the game where it's one of the colors that can prevent your opponent from doing an action. Like if they want a quest for lore on their turn, you can prevent that from happening. Green. Emerald green. Agero. Yeah, aggro. disruption and discarding. All right. All right, we've got Ruby next, which is the red cards. I feel like Ruby, because I have a Ruby and Sapphire deck, and I feel like Ruby is going to be like a strength, or where you can kind of like your attack, you like, I would say maybe increased abilities, maybe would be, or how to, what is it, maybe like gaining, like you're gaining things. I don't know. We'll find out. Ruby red is daring. So it says Ruby is considered the daring. So control, removal, and damage. So yeah, the you can get increase. That's right. Ruby is where you can get increased damage. So from a character. So that's really important. Control. I'm gonna put controlled removal. Removal. Control removal. And damage. So another thing is, so we'll put evasive, rush, and reckless. So invasive, so those of you that don't know what evasive means in this game, it basically means that if I pulled a character card and that character I had enough ink for, I play him in the field and it reads evasive. Um, Evasive means but evasive means that that your opponent won't be able to attack you or won't be able to challenge you unless their character also they play has evasive as well. They can't be challenged. But that's what evasive is in the game is if you have a character in play that says it has evasive, it can obviously it can attack, but your opponent won't be able to challenge on their turn. They won't be able. So as I said, if they already have a character in play or multiple characters in play, they won't be able to challenge on their turn my character if none of my opponent's characters have evasive. But I would be able to attack them. So really the only time you can attack another character is if their character if your opponent's character or characters have evasive.
We're doing those mashed potatoes.
But I will say it's definitely some of these big words are really important to catch, and they will say under the card's description of what the card does. But I remember there was a word in Magic the Gathering. It was one of the only abilities a creature would be able to have, but it was called haste. And haste is a word in a card game that refers to that once you play and spend your land on that character or creature, you don't have to wait until your next turn to fight with that creature. Because haste is like the only ability.
Hey Tom.
Yep.
Where's your what is it that you bought tonight?
My dinner.
Yeah.
Or my lunch.
No. Do you have mass? I can't even.
Do I have what?
Something you'll eat with it.
Eat with the chicken?
Yes.
No, I don't.
You don't. Okay. All right.
I can figure out something.
Well, no.
But haste is a if any creature in Magic has haste, it means that you don't have to wait your next turn to battle with that creature. They can battle right out the gate. You can challenge your opponent. Um, Yep,
You want that tonight?
I already made it.
What?
I already made it.
I can't hear you, so. How are you? I can't hear you.
But it's really interesting how these cards have different things they do better in than compared to other. All right, and then the symbol for the ruby red is a lightning bolt, so like lightning the queen. Um, but let's move on. So we've got two more different color type of cards. So we've got, so the next up is sapphire, intellectual. So, oh yeah, ink ramp. Late game. So unfortunately, I will say playing a sapphire deck myself, or playing a part. So I have a ruby and sapphire deck that's combined the two. But the Sapphire deck is definitely a deck that really takes full, I guess, what is it, like full focus throughout, like, through like the late game, not so much early on in the game. But the thing is, the Sapphire decks, some depending on the starter deck, are easier than others, but it's one of those, I would say, definitely one of the decks that you definitely probably, I wouldn't say you would have a hard time with. I am gonna look up the term ink ramp because, like, unless you, I think I know what it means, is they're ramping you up for like ink, like you, I'm pretty sure, because I think I did hear this, but meaning that you will get a lot of ink. You'll be wasting your ink through like really low level characters, at least until the late game. I'm coming. Because each turn that you have, you have to you can, so the first player that starts doesn't draw a card, but the play, obviously your opponent gets to, and then so whoever starts first, they draw on their second turn. And that's very important to keep in mind, is that this would be a deck where you would really have to put at least, I mean, every turn, if especially if there was a late game character you wanted to put out and play. It's good to manage a Sapphire deck, but know how to manage it, know how to control it. um I will say, I will say, I've had a lot of great things or great playthroughs with Amber, Amethyst, and of course Ruby Red, because Ruby is like the deck that gives you a really good high damage kind of deck. Because that's the thing, Ruby Red, or Ruby is like one of the decks to have if you want to do a lot of damage. And of course, controlling removal. Yep, I can figure something out, Mom. I'll figure something out. But anyways, I'm gonna let this part upload and then I'll come back on. But this is actually part one.